some of the stuff you've been looking into involves Prince Andrew. I know the book is far off. You're thinking of that in some time yet.
Yeah, 2025, I think.
2025. Probably. I guess what controversy is that going to bring about? Where are some of the places you're poking, and are you concerned for your life, really?
No, I think I'm touch wood okay. But yes, the focus is on his time as a public servant when he wasn't a member of the royal family, in effect, but working for the government. And this was the 10 years when he was a trade envoy from 2001 to 2011. And there was a lot of criticism of his role there, which was meant to drum up British trade. But there were suggestions that he took some of his chums, people who paid off debts, for example, for his ex-wife, and that he was doing business himself as a fixer. These are accusations that have been made often by people who were dealing with him, so diplomats and perhaps some of the people on the tour. So I wanted to find out, who was accompanying him on these trips, and what were the arrangements. Now, the papers for the Trade Department and the Foreign Office for that period have to be released after 20 years unless they fulfill certain exemptions. So we should have basically the papers going back to at least 2003, when he had 2003. So we should have the first 2 years of that period. But all the files, as I say, are closed until 2065.
That's mad.
Yeah. And, you ask, for example, who was on the royal flight. Can I have the flight logs? They refuse to release them or say they don't have them. The line is they don't have them. The Foreign Office and the Trade say they have no record of this 10 years. And I've talked to diplomats who organized the trips, who were dealing with all the correspondence. You say there's voluminous correspondence dealing with this, which must be somewhere, but no one will say where it is, or if it's been kept. And this, of course, would be very revealing. Who were on these trips? Were they there drumming up trade for Britain, or were they there to help Andrew? And if, he wanted to clear his name, you would have thought he would be happy for these logs to come out. So, for example, we know for the night when he was in London and Virginia Giuffre accuses him of having gone to bed with her.
Yeah.
And he claims that he was in Windsor. We do have the logs. Well, the logs are kept by the protection officers, and there will be logs, for example, who came in and out of Buckingham Palace on that night. And yet those logs, which are less than 20 years old, have been destroyed, they say.
Oh.
So you have to wonder, why are they being destroyed? I mean, these are logs which are normally kept.
It's very suspicious.
So there's a lot of material that's rather suspicious, as you say, is being destroyed after the event.
It's very worrying because I don't have a strong opinion about the monarchy either way. They seem to be quite an interesting thing to have, and a symbol that unites people in some respects, and I understand both sides.
Well, I think that they do a terrific job in terms of soft power and tourism earnings. They unite the nation. They do a terrific amount of work for charity. So I think there are lots and lots of very good things about the monarchy, but that doesn't mean that they, as I say, should be above the law, that they should be feathering their own pocket from public work.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be, there are allegations that Virginia Giuffre brought against Andrew have never been investigated by the police. No, if it was you and me, something would have been done. So you have to ask time and time again, is there a rule for the rich and powerful and a rule for everyone else?
Yeah, absolutely. And when they get involved in the royal family in politics, as he was doing, I mean, trade, that's politics, isn't it, that he's getting involved in, for that to then be locked away, that's a huge problem. Because that's not democracy then, that's not transparency.
Well, exactly. I mean, any other trade delegate would be open to some sort of scrutiny. The papers would be available. And so why is he different?
Wow. And so, I mean, the suspicion then, and I don't think we'd be the first to say it, is that he might be guilty of doing, I mean, I don't know about if he said he was in Pizza Express, was he in He Doesn't Sweat and all of these things?
Well, exactly. I think one of the problems when he did the Newsnight interviews, he made a series of assertions, one of which, as you say, was he didn't sweat. Well, there's plenty of evidence, pictures of him and testimony in papers for the period saying he came out of a nightclub sweating.
Yeah.
And plenty of things, how the last time you saw Epstein, the first time you met Epstein, have been shown to be palpably untrue. So we have to ask, on these trade delegations, he didn't always stay with the ambassador. He went to hotels, which we paid for, 5-star hotels. Why did he do that? Was that because he didn't want to be seen to be doing whatever he was doing? And we know there were requests being put to diplomats, for example, by members of his staff, asking for them basically to produce pretty women for him.
Is that right?
One woman who gave him a massage lost her job when she spoke out about it. So there are a lot of big questions about him. He's very close to a man called David Rowland, who who runs a bank for basically very, very rich people. And they're just the sort of people that Andrew's meeting. Rowland has been on one of these trips, I understand. And Rowland paid off some of Fergie's debts. So there's a suggestion that Epstein may have gone on some of these trips as well. There's a case that's just going through the court at the moment where large sums of money were placed in Andrew's bank account, hundreds of thousands of pounds, which he couldn't really explain. And some money was put in his daughter's bank account. They claimed it was a wedding present or money to organize a party. And this was from someone who hardly knew them. So, but the press don't really report these cases. People are turning a blind eye, and they know that. And that means that their behavior, and I said it's only a limited number of royals, of which I think Andrew is one of the worst offenders, are behaving like this.
It really infuriates me because I've only just started a business for this and I've never done all the business stuff. I'm not very good at it. And I'm suddenly realizing, oh my God, I've got to pay 20% VAT on this and that's just my earnings. And there's another percentage and another, and it's all going away and I can't believe it. And the amounts are minuscule compared to what Prince Andrew's dealing with. And I'm paying it all. Why isn't he doing it? I can't believe he's not held to the same standard, or at least even more of a standard.
Well, I mean, there was a big fight for the Queen to pay tax, and eventually that happened. But they now, the civil list, the money that's given to her, the sovereign grant, I think is tied into inflation and a percentage of their profits. And of course, they're making record profits, the Duchy of Lancaster and Cornwall. Yeah. So, there was a big controversy the other day because money that isn't, when people die and test it, that money goes, for example, the Duchy of Lancaster, that goes into Charles's pocket. Yeah. So there are a lot of controversies about their wealth. The wills are sealed. We don't know what's in them. Are they doing tax dodges? We have the extraordinary story of Andrew's marital home, Sunninghill Park, given to him by the Queen, cost £5 million. She then basically gifted it to him, and so he did a complicated thing through a trust, so he didn't pay capital gains on it when it was sold. It was sold for way above the valuation. By that point, it had been basically abandoned and was derelict, and the man who bought it for more than £3 million over the asking price turned out to be one of the dictators that he was doing business with as a trade
It's just mad. I can't handle that. I can't believe some of this stuff.
It sort of puts people off. I mean, the monarchy does a great job, but I think these people, these bad apples, affect people's view of the monarchy. And, we're seeing, with the problems over Harry and Meghan, as well as Andrew, and the whole racist debate that's going on at the moment. That is quite a sort of big thing for the royal family because, it's not so much here. We don't necessarily believe what Meghan Markle says, but they believe it in the States. And this is just sort of lighting the paper in the Caribbean. We're seeing people leave the Commonwealth. There's this big debate about slavery and the involvement of the royal family. And so this all plays very badly if the royal family are seen to be racist.
Wow. Well, let's get on to Meghan and Harry in a minute, because I do want to ask you about that. Just one last thing on Andrew. His character, I understand, he's just not a nice bloke, is he? I remember hearing weird stuff about teddy bears, and also just being incredibly rude to staff. Is that right?
Yes, he's very rude to staff. He's very arrogant. He feels he's this, the son of the monarch. He can behave as he wants, and he believes in the divine right of kings. So he'll summon staff, from downstairs to open the curtains, which he could open himself.
Oh God!
He'll use a police protection officer to go and pick up his golf balls when he sends them down the fairway. I have to say, very few people had a good word to say about him. And he stands on ceremony. There's a famous story with this commanding officer of the Navy, and Andrew said to him, "You can call me Andrew." And the commanding officer said, "Yes, and you can call me Sir." But, lots and lots of stories how, he's been very jovial one minute, and he'll come in at a weekend party the next, and people are reading the papers and chatting, and he'll say, "Shall I redo this again?" And they look at him in surprise, and he says, "You stand up when I come in."
Oh, what a piece of shit. I can't handle it. At the same time, he's a product of his environment to an extent. You grow up like that. I mean, this is what I think about Harry as well. You grow up in that kind of environment, and you're sort of the spare.
Well, but, remember, they've both gone to, they've not been educated at home. I mean, they've gone out to school. They've mixed in the rough and tumble of service life. They both served in action. So, these are not people who've been mollycoddled. And also there are plenty of members of the royal family, his other siblings. I mean, Edward and Anne don't behave like this. They're completely different. I mean, very good to the staff. The staff are very loyal to them. I mean, it's a huge turnover of staff for Andrew. So, it's about character, I'm afraid, not about the upbringing.
Is there evidence you've heard about Andrew and the allegations with regards to, I suppose, was it trafficking and the women being procured for him by Epstein? Is there evidence that you can't reveal, that it might be too much?
Well, I mean, he was very close to Epstein. He went supposedly to end this relationship and stayed for several days with him while he did so. There's no doubt that Epstein opened doors for him business-wise and vice versa, introduced him to useful people. And also Epstein, was a trafficking woman. I mean, that's pretty clear. And providing women for his guests, people who are on the Lolita Express, people who are staying with him. And, it's not just Virginia Giuffre's come forward, but others. There's the famous film of him sort of whispering sweet nothings to someone as she left Epstein's home in New York. So I think other women have come forward. A lot of people have been paid off. A lot of people too scared to speak. But I think there's a certain amount of evidence. I mean, I don't think he took advantage of the women who were on offer. And I don't think they were that young. I mean, we're talking about women probably 16 up. We're not talking about little children.
Which in the UK, there'll be a different feeling for British viewers than American viewers.
Yeah. And I think also there are a lot of very mature looking 16-year-olds. So we're not looking, I mean, Mountbatten was involved with 12-year-old boys. I mean, that's a very different story. The
difference between that P word and hebephilia, which I believe J.D. Salinger was the famous person who had that, which is an attraction to post-pubescent or pubescent.
It was new to me, yes. But I mean, Andrew certainly likes, young, pretty girls. But he also likes, older women. He's had a whole series of relationships with much older women, more of his own age. So I don't think he's a paedophile at all. And, to be fair, there are there's quite a lot of evidence to suggest that picture was doctored.
Do you think it was?
I haven't come to a conclusion on it yet, but some of the stuff that I've been shown is quite convincing. Where the arm should be, I mean, experts in taking photographs, the reflection in the eyes, the perspectives, and of course we don't have the origin of the picture, and the person who discovered it with him, Sharon Churcher, has begun to distance herself from Virginia Giuffre. Giuffre's testimony has been shown to be not always consistent. She accused Alan Dershowitz, an American lawyer, of having been trafficked to her, and he won a case against her. She settled a case. So it's a very murky area, and trying to get the truth is very difficult because you're relying on only a few people who were there who are all saying different things.
Not an easy book to write.
Not easy. I mean, libel will be a big problem. And of course, the no doubt records, which is what you normally rely on, and the testimony, people don't talk. There's an omerta around the royal family. They either want to remain within the circles, or they're scared, or they don't want to get involved. So much easier to say no or not answer than to get involved.